Welcome to the Ottawa Business Journal's live broadcast of Understanding Your IP, Patents, Trademarks, and Copyrights. I'm Michael Curran from the Ottawa Business Journal. Thank you so much for joining us today. We've got a great topic for you. So happy that you're here joining us. Many business owners and executives, I think, do not fully understand the value of their intellectual property. It's time to protect your most valuable assets. That's why we're here today. Today's live virtual event will help you demystify intellectual property, often abbreviated as IP, by the way. You'll hear that term a lot, and learn how to leverage it for business success. What will you learn today? Well, a few things. We'll discover the different types of IP. We're going to do that right off the top. We'll understand the importance of protecting your IP, safeguarding your innovations, your brand identity, creative works infringement. In our third topic, we'll have you gain insights into the IP enforcement. So if there's an infringement on your rights, what you need to do to enforce them. And finally, the fourth topic today will be about developing your IP strategy. This is the action item where you need to think about what you're doing to protect your business. All right, we've got a great guest, as always, to walk us through today's discussion. An expert, in fact, with 2 decades of expertise as a seasoned trademark agent. Her roster client spans companies that span the spectrum of all sizes, which is great, I think, for our audience today. So she's not just speaking to multi-million-dollar corporations. That this pertains to small businesses as well. Her deep understanding of the regulatory landscape in these areas enables her to streamline processes, ultimately saving her clients valuable time and resources. Let's meet her now. Here is our trademark agent from Nelligan Law. Please welcome Erin McEwen. Hey, Erin.
Hi, Michael. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, I thank you for being here and sharing all of this knowledge. Erin, as we kick things off, I just want to bounce a thought off of you. I've been in business as an entrepreneur and business manager for, let's say, the better part of 20, 30 years. What I've observed, particularly when I think about this topic, is that entrepreneurs and business managers kind of by osmosis obtain lots of knowledge over the years: finance, HR, marketing, sales, maybe some tech tricks. But Erin, I find this is a blind spot for lots of entrepreneurs, and I don't get it. I don't get it, Erin. Is this what you observe in your practice, that is this blind spot for a lot of entrepreneurs and business leaders?
Absolutely, absolutely. Especially with the smaller business owners, IP can be a little scary. And also there are some misconceptions as well out there. Small business owners will a lot of the times when they incorporate their company, they believe that they now have protection over their company name as a trademark. And this is not the case. So it's very important to understand IP and how it can benefit you and how you can monetize that going
Yeah, I think you
forward.
nailed it. I think you nailed it there, Erin. It's something that an entrepreneur, a business owner will do in the initial stages of forming a company, and then for some reason it goes to the back burner.
It does. It does. It there. Yeah. It can be scary for a lot of them. You
Yeah.
know.
And
Yeah.
I think sometimes it's about the language. By the way, we're going to start this by just defining some of
Yeah.
the language, because I think it's understanding the definitions, and then a one kind of level deeper than that, what they mean and how they apply to your business. Does that sound something that resonates with you?
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. So why
Yeah,
why don't we start out then with showing everybody the different types of IP. A lot of the times there is some confusion,
yeah,
particularly between a patent and a trademark, which is what one.
yeah.
Um,
I'm going to give people a quick agenda here, Aaron. Then we'll go
yeah,
to
for
topic one, just as
sure.
suggested,
Okay, great.
and we'll bring it up on screen so people know where we're heading today. Topic number one, as Aaron just said, is what is intellectual property. So we'll define those terms in 1 second and give you a real cool real world example. then we'll tell you why you need to protect it, right? That's the why is always important these days.
Yeah.
In topic number 3, you understand your rights in case of infringement. Number 4, crafting your IP strategy questions. And then we'll go to questions from our live audience. That will happen sometime around 12:25. So just to let all of our live listeners know here, you can use the platform you're on, whether it's YouTube or LinkedIn, to ask your questions. And Susan from the OBJ team will be looking for those questions, and we'll get to pose them. So there's a unique opportunity for our live audience. I urge you to ask some questions that we'll get to. But let's, Erin, dive right into the deep end here on this, on topic number 1. What is intellectual property? So we'll bring our first graphic up, Erin, and we'll get going.
Great. So there are a lot of items that do happen to fall under IP. So we have patents, industrial designs, trademarks, copyrights, and trade secrets. And there's a lot of confusion with business owners as to what these items actually include. So patents will incorporate inventions, so how a product works. Industrial designs, they're the visual appeal of a product. So similar to like the shape of a bottle, we'll say. Trademarks, that's your brand identity, your logo that you're using, how people know you within your business field. Copyrights, these are creative works. So your website, any pamphlets, brochures. And then finally, we have trade secrets. So these are recipes, that secret sauce, as they would say.
Yeah, excellent. And you've planned this cool graphic. So, people probably grasp those terms at a high level, but let's look at one of the most iconic companies in the world and see how those terms apply to that company's product.
Yeah. Thanks, Michael. I'm a visual person, so I sometimes find it easier to explain using graphics. So first off, Coca-Cola, as you said, it's one of the most famous brands out there, and ironically enough, there happens to be all of these items of IP within the one single bottle. So we have the lid, which is protected by patent protection, and it's the way that it closes and stays sealed. We also have the manufacturing process. It's also covered by patent protection, and that's how they keep the carbonation within the bottle. And we have the brand name Coca-Cola, as well as the logo, which are protected by trademark, but also the visual appeal of the label itself is protected by a copyright. Then we have the shape of that iconic bottle, which is protected by an industrial design and also by a 3-dimensional trademark. And then last but not least, we have the recipe. And I believe they have 29 different trade secrets for this recipe that they keep under lock and key.
Wow, that's really neat. So let me ask you a couple follow-up questions here. We're not all, of course, making beverages.
No.
So if I were to think of your typical client, so all of your clients, right, would have a brand.
Yes.
So they would need a trademark. Is that right?
Correct.
Many of them would have some sort of physical product that might include industrial design. So that, I think, is broadly accepted as well.
Correct.
Patents is a really complex thing. So we're going to scratch the surface a little here on patents.
Yeah.
Not every business would have a patent. When I think of patents, and I don't want to zero in too sharply here, but like a technology company in Ottawa, we're full of them. We've got almost 2,000 of them, would often have a patent. Does that sound about right?
Correct, correct. Within the IP field, the engineers of these tech companies will work very closely with the patent agents
That's a great point.
um, to decide
Copyright.
whether or not.
Yeah, copyright, I hope, as a publisher, OBJ, I would understand copyright. So copyright, you said it well. If we write an article on our news site, that's copyright. If someone, I guess, does a song, does a
Yeah,
painting, those are all creative work. So copyright is often creative works, Erin.
correct, correct.
And the trade secrets, like this is something that I've heard once in a while, but it's not a term that I hear all the time. Um, and as you said, it's confidential business information. So it doesn't mean it's a patent. It just means it could be like a process, right, Erin?
Exactly. Yeah, it could be an actual recipe. Yes,
Okay.
it could definitely be a process that the company doesn't want to be made public, because
Yes.
once you file a patent, that information becomes public record, and it only lasts for the duration of the patent itself, whereas a trade secret stays private forever.
Okay.
I,
Okay. Well, I hope everyone has all of that clear. Again, we've got a live question Q&A session coming up around 12:25. So if you want some clarification on any of those points, please let us know. Again, if you're on YouTube or LinkedIn, just ask a question on your platform, and we'll be getting that in just a minute. Erin, it's time for topic number 2. So we kind of define the terms. Now we're going to talk about protecting your IP. So if you're a business, you have many of those things maybe that we talked about. Now it's up to them to protect it. So let's bring up our second graphic and we'll take a look at this, Erin.
Perfect. So, why protect your IP? And this is the number one question that we get as trademark agents. The number one reason is you want to keep your idea safe. You don't want others out there taking advantage, misusing it, um, passing off as you've spent lots of money and lots of time building your brand, building that reputation, that the last thing you want is for somebody else to go out and tarnish that.
For sure. And one of the things I when I think of IP, I focus intellectual property. I focus on that property word, right? So business
Yes.
owners would understand that their building is a piece of property, that maybe a company
Mhm.
vehicle is a piece of property, a desk in their office is a piece of property. You know what else is
Yeah.
a piece of property? Your intellectual property, right? So it may help some of the listeners and viewers understand that you would always protect your property. This is just
Yeah.
another type of property.
Yeah, and that's a really, really good point too, Michael, because once you do have that protection in place, and let's say that you're looking for another round of funding, you can take that protected intellectual property with you as part of your business portfolio to the bank or
Yeah,
to investors.
yeah.
So that's important to also keep in mind.
I don't want to use the tech companies as an example all the time, but I think you're bang on with your comment, Erin. If you were a technology entrepreneur and you're looking to secure, private equity, venture capital, so on and so forth, guess what's going to be on that checklist? 100%, they're going to check out all your IP, including your patents, your trademarks, your trade secrets, right? Or else the deal
Yeah.
won't. Like literally, it's part of the due diligence, right, Erin, in this type of case.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's one of the number one things that these investors will ask when you go to see
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. And I think there's a risk component here too. So it's not only about if you're selling the company, as you indicated here in your graphic, it's about reducing the risk. So, um, I'll use maybe the company vehicle example. That's obviously a tangible piece of property. You don't want someone to steal it. It's
Mhm.
similar with your ideas, right? The ideas, the principles of trademarks, excuse me, the trade secrets. You don't want those taken. If they do, they put your entire enterprise at risk.
100%, 100%. Yeah, you could go from a huge following on Friday and then by Monday morning have nothing.
So maybe a quick question, and we won't get too much in the technicalities. The
Okay.
really technical stuff is why people should contact you, Erin. But um, let's just pretend I was one of your clients. That I'm starting a new company. You would obviously identify and go through some sort of questionnaire with me to identify kind
Mhm.
of the unique aspects of my business. But then you actually do filings, right? Maybe talk to us for about 60 seconds about the filings that would be necessary when you're doing your work, Erin.
Yeah, so just to take even one half a step back,
Yes.
is we always suggest that we conduct searches
Mm,
first, because not only is protecting your brand important, you also want to make sure that you're not impeding on anybody else's brand. Um, so to before we even begin with the filing itself, we want to make sure that what you do intend to use within your business that you're not overstepping at all, because that could be expensive
you
later
got it.
on.
It's
Yeah.
not just about people infringing on your rights; it's about you infringing on people's rights. Uh,
Exactly, exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. So we'll work together with our clients and we will do the searches in advance. And then from there we proceed with the filing itself. And we work with the clients and we come up with the best strategy. We look at what at their business and what we believe should be protected. And then once we go through, it's called a prosecution process on the trademark side. So you go from filing through to examination, approval, advertisement, and then finally registration, which is
Okay.
when you own the final intellectual property.
Got it. That sounds like the perfect segue to topic number three. Just before I set this up, a reminder that if you have any questions on what we're talking about here, we will be going to our Q&A in about 10 minutes or so. So topic number three, Erin, is understanding your rights in case of infringement. So we defined the terms. We told you why you need to do, and we talked about kind of the searches and the filings. Now we're going to focus for a few minutes on what would happen if someone infringed on your intellectual property. We'll bring up another graphic to lead you into this.
Yes. So this is why it's very, very important to protect your intellectual property. Without that formal protection, it's more difficult to be able to um, take action. There are common law rights that one can rely on, but keep in mind though that those common law rights, they're jurisdictional. So in order for you to stop somebody within Canada, you need to have a registered, you need registered protection. And once you have that, then we can send a cease and desist. We can file a legal action. And we also work really closely with customs at the borders to stop any counterfeit goods.
Okay. Okay. So, and you probably do these in order, right? So, if I were your client and I was like, "Wow, someone's infringing on my trademark," or I think they is, you would give me some advice. If you agreed, then it would be kind of
Yeah.
letter to them to start with. If they don't kind of fall into line, then it's legal action. And then if it was a physical product being imported into Canada, that's when you would go to Canada Border Services, Aaron, and say, like, we've got an issue here. We need to prevent these items from entering the country.
Correct, correct. But from sort of so yes, with respect to the cease and desist letters, we will
Okay.
always send one of those before commencing legal action. But for the border services, we've noticed that a lot of our clients, they're using this as part of their strategy. Is they let, as soon as they receive that registration, they'll have us file it with the border service agents so that then they don't even need to wait for any of this to happen. So they're being proactive in their protection.
Interesting. And this is
Yeah,
kind of an increasing trend you're seeing.
absolutely, absolutely. And we work closely with our colleagues in other countries as well, so that if we have clients that have protection in the US, in the European Union, they can set up these notices at all of these borders.
Okay. Listen, we're going to move to our fourth topic now. It's crafting an
Yeah.
IP strategy. So I'll just review again for anyone who's just joining us. We defined the terms. We talked about the why, like why you need to do this, why this should be a priority for your company. We just talked about what happens if there's an infringement. You'd contact someone like Erin and you'd get them involved in protecting your intellectual property. In this one, this is a little bit about being proactive. So it's
Mhm.
kind of the natural segue there, Erin. So you just shouldn't just sit back. You should be proactive and craft a strategy. So we'll bring up that graphic, Erin, and we'll dive into this here.
Great. So this it yeah, so at the outset, whenever we meet with our clients, we go through a strategy with them. And it's important as well to keep in mind that every business is different. So every IP strategy is going to be different. Um, there are larger companies and smaller companies. Some are in very niche fields, some have a broader scope. So that's why it's always beneficial to sit down with us so that we can help you find that strategy that fits best with your business.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And there's something that's interesting. I'll maybe focus on here a little bit is your IP is not something just that you own and is a value. It can actually be, if I can put it this way, a revenue generator for you. In some cases, not all companies, but you can actually license your IP through partnerships or you could sell it, so on and so forth. So it's not
Mhm.
even something, Erin, where you're sitting back and having this asset, a little bit like a building or something like that. It's something that can be licensed and become a money generator, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I I mean, a lot of companies will do this. You take any of the comic companies, they're forever licensing out their trademarks and their copyrights so that other individuals can generate products, and then the parent company doesn't need to do that. They can just sit back and make the money.
What a great example. Like, just think about,
Yeah.
I don't know all the details here, but comics that were, illustrated and produced in the 1930s or 1940s are now, billion-dollar film franchises.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's the perfect example of
Okay.
licensing and how royalties work, for
Yeah.
sure.
Really neat. Listen,
Yeah.
we're coming up to 12:25, and Erin, we got lots of comments here. So I'm going to guide you through some of them, and I'll
Okay,
put them
great.
on screen. Let's just see. Okay, interesting. So before I ask any of these questions, let's all agree that Erin's not has not seen these questions in advance. So Erin,
No.
just give us your best shot at answering some of them. Some of them might be
Okay.
tricky, and if Erin doesn't have a precise answer, then you can follow up with an email. But the first question is from Capital Finance. With a design platform such as Canva, how could you claim IP and design? So maybe I'll rephrase that question and saying there's lots of software, Erin, today that helps people design, for example, a logo for their company. So if I
Mhm.
use AI or another piece of software design a logo, is that something still that I can have a, let me try to get this right, a trademark on? Or
So with a lot of these design platforms, you would want to take a look at that license agreement that you have with that platform, whether you're permitted to use it for business purposes, whether it's for personal purposes. Um, y- for example, when a lot of people will get into crafting industries and start creating designs on, let's say, a cricket machine. They what they don't realize is that they're actually not adhering to the proper license agreement there. So I'm myself, I'm not familiar with Canva
yeah,
license agreements when you purchase it. I know that there are likely different levels. So
yes.
perhaps if you subscribe to one of the higher ones, then you may own the IP. I'm not entirely sure. We
Yeah,
would need
that's
to take a
practical. That's
peek.
good practical advice. So you'd need to look into the licensing from the piece of software
Yeah,
technology you're using. But I would think, generally speaking, here, Erin, if technology helped you create something, I'm thinking, and maybe I'm wrong about this. If you use Adobe Illustrator or something like that and did it very manually, or whether or not you use a bit of an automation, I would think still, if it's a unique uh, trademark or image, that it
yeah.
still is patentable, generally speaking.
Trademarkable.
Trademarkable. Okay, that's a good. I'll add that to my lexicon. Um, okay, we got lots of questions here. So maybe I'll go to Kelly Banks next. So it looks like she is working in the training and education field and has
Wonderful.
developed a program, so content. So let's say we're training something on a particular topic. She's got training materials. So she's saying, how would you protect this to ensure that someone does not take your content and deliver that program without crediting or compensating to you? So let's say you and I started a company, we create training materials. Is this something that can be protected, Erin?
Absolutely, absolutely, and we've done this a lot,
Okay.
with quite a number of clients. Um, so it could fall under, a copyright. It could also fall under a process. Kelly, feel free to
Okay.
reach out. Yeah,
This is an area where you can help.
absolutely.
And here's a question from Jennifer Baker. Thank you, Jennifer. I think you kind of touched on this, but we didn't get into this in depth. So Jennifer's
No.
asking, are your copyrights and trademarks global, or do you have to apply for them in each country?
Jennifer, this is a great question. Thank you so much. So trademarks are jurisdictional, or so you have to apply for each individual country. The only exception would be is the European Union. We can file one that incorporates all of those countries. However, there is Canada recently joined the Madrid filing system as well. So now it's a little more cost efficient for clients. Once they have the Canadian filing, then we can select other countries. Um, so if you are interested in protecting a number of them, again, as part of the strategy, that's something that we can go over and discuss costs. But
Oh, okay.
in short, country by country.
Okay. And for everyone, I'll say this in a couple minutes, but we will be sharing Erin's contact information and sending you a follow-up link with the replayed video and her contact info. Gordon Hughes, this is another, wow, we got great questions here today. Gordon is basically understanding, I think, that you need to make filings for your IP. And now he's saying, do you need to re-register them? Like, is there a time limit on some of these filings, Erin?
Another great question. So trade secrets, as long as you can keep them secret, they'll stay there forever. Trademarks can be renewed in perpetuity. So as long as you continue to renew your trademark, you can keep that going forever. Patents, industrial designs, and copyrights, they do have expiration dates.
Okay, that's great. And this will probably be the final question. Man, you're getting lots of questions.
That's okay.
This is, I call it a
It's
blind spot for
enjoyable.
lots of entrepreneurs. Well, there's lots of people looking to fill that blind spot here today. So DK, thank you for the question. DK is asking, so this is regarding trademarks. He's saying it seems like the CTO, I'm going to guess that's the Canadian Trademark Office, that's my guess, has been dealing with a significant backlog in applications. A recent trademark took 4 years. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It used to take 6 to 8 months. Any comments or thoughts?
So we just found out. So yes, it has been a huge backlog. There was a huge backlog just before COVID, and then COVID happened, and it just sent everything into a tailspin. But just recently, for any new trademark applications that are filed after January 1st, 2025, we have been advised that the examination will occur within 13 months of a trademark filing. So this is significant, Michael,
Wow.
because there's still a huge backlog with anything filed prior to that. So I'm not entirely sure what the Canadian Trademarks Office is planning, but
Sure.
like for the backlog, I know that they have hired new examiners. But there does seem to be a light at the end of the tunnel.
Well, 13 months sounds better than
Yes,
48 months.
yes, yes. And can I add a little note
Yeah,
in there
please.
too, that if there is an urgency for an individual that owns a trademark, that they need that trademark in order to prevent somebody from infringing on their rights, we can assist with expediting the examination
Good to
process.
know.
It we do need to file an affidavit.
Okay.
So there are costs associated, but if there is a matter of urgency, like we need to
Sure.
stop somebody, there are means to do that.
And that's why you need to talk to people like Erin. Get those little secrets on those
Yeah.
last 2 points, by the way. So listen, Erin, we're almost in overtime here. We're going to move to our key takeaways. So we'll bring up a graphic and we'll start our wrap up period. Walk us through these takeaways, Erin.
So I guess a reminder that intellectual property, it's a business asset. It protects not just you as a brand, it protects your inventions, your ideas, and you can take it to the bank. You want to protect strategically, and enforce your rights. So,
Yeah, there
yeah.
you got it. So, listen, we in all of these interviews, we've got 30 minutes. So we scratched the surface of this. Erin's been working, as I
Yeah.
said, for 20, 30 years in this. So we're barely scratching the surface. We're going to bring up your contact info because I'm sure people have lots of additional questions that we couldn't get to. Thank you for everyone, by the way, for asking those those
Yes.
live questions. So there you go, Erin McEwen, trademark agent at Nelligan. Her phone number, email. That will also be sent to all of our registered guests. One of the reasons you should register is that we send you the replay link, we'll send you the deck and all that type of stuff, everyone. Erin, the time is run out. So I want to thank you very much for your time today, for sharing your expertise, Erin. And I hope we've helped, as I've been saying, fill in that blind spot for some entrepreneurs and business managers.
I hope so. That was fun. Thanks so much for having me, Michael.
All right. Big thanks to Erin McEwen from Nelligan. Once again, we'll send her contact information to you if you are a registered viewer of this. All right. A reminder that you can visit obj.ca website every day for the latest and local business news. I highly recommend that you subscribe to OBJ Today. It's our weekday email newsletter. Monday, Friday, goes out towards the end of the day. That newsletter has existed, I'm not kidding you, for about 25 years. And there are thousands of people in Ottawa that use that newsletters to scan it for what's happened. It's a good recap of local business. I know we have lots of emails and you're like, why would I possibly sign up for another email? There's good reason. This is a time saver. You can scan it, get a recap of the day. If you're not doing so already, please like us on LinkedIn. In particular, we're about to hit 40,000 followers. We're just on the precipice of that, so help us get over 40,000. And if you're watching us on YouTube today, click the red subscribe button and the bell icon. If you do that, you'll be notified of all of these live broadcasts and pre-recorded videos. That's all the time we have for today. I'm Michael Curran signing off for our friends at the Ottawa Business Journal, and a big thanks to Nelligan and Erin McEwen for all of their environment. Thanks, everyone. See you soon. Bye-bye.